last video today, part D.4, JSP implicit objects and declarations. 2 topics. All right. The first topic, JSP implicit objects. I explained a little bit in our first JSP example, Duke. In Monday's class, I talk about a little bit, but we need to learn this concept many times, because we need to, in order to understand it better, we need to spend a lot of time. Okay, First, why using JSP implicit objects? This concept. Why new concept is used in JSP? This is a new concept. In servlets, there is no such concept. In servlets, we never use implicit objects. All objects are explicit objects. Okay? But in JSP, it's different. We know JSP has some special properties other than those in the servlets. All right. Purpose first, provide convenience for JSP programmers. Definitely. You can think about if we don't have those implicit objects, we need to create explicit objects. Although we can do that, but not very convenient in the JSP environment. So you can feel not very convenient. So this is a big, important convenience for our Java programmers. The example we take it from the Duke. So in the response.jsp, when we output the name of the user, we use this implicit object. Request. This request is implicit object. Why implicit? Can you see where do we create it? We never create it. We just use it. You never see, because for a regular Java object, in order to use it, you need to call constructor, right? Or if you're not constructor, you need to call a special Java method to generate it, right? Here, we never do that. Okay? But we can use it because the server, the container, does it for us. Okay? So we just assume they are available, and when we need to use any of them, get it and use it. Here, that request object is the one. You have to use the full name. You cannot use any other different name. You have to use exactly this name. Okay. For example, if you use request, REQ, JSP container cannot recognize what's that. What is this variable? Okay? It complains. Variable cannot be found. Things like that. All right. So that's how do we use. After you understand the concept, it is very easy to use it. Usage. Server creates them automatically. Okay? Programmers, we use them directly. Okay? All right. How many implicit objects? Here, we like to know all the possible implicit objects. There are 9, total 9. Okay? Here, let me list all of them, all 9, because not too many, only 9. So we can list all of them here. Frequently used implicit objects. Frequently used. Yeah. These 4 frequently used. Request, response. Yeah. Sometimes you need to do something related to response. You need to use it. Yeah. Session. Yeah, this is very important. Later, when we need to store our client's state information. State information. Yeah. Information about the identity of your client. State information. Yeah. Oh. All right. Okay. Yeah. So you need to use this session, implicit session object. Yeah. This is a big topic. Session management. This is a big topic. Yeah. So we will have a lot of discussion on this topic. All right. Then page context. Page. Yeah. In OneJSP page. Yeah. So you have this convenient implicit object, so you can access different resources. Okay. Yeah. Page context. Yeah. So that's the frequently used implicit objects. The remaining 5, not frequently used, but sometimes you may need to use them. Yeah. So the remaining 5 here. Out. Out. For output, out. Okay. Output stream, right? Yeah, out. You have that implicit object. Application. Application. Yeah. Something, some data, if you want to store somewhere and shared by the whole web application, you can use this implicit object, application. Later we will talk about, related to these, these implicit object. Yeah. Store data. Mainly, when we store data, we need to discuss, these 4 implicit objects. Okay. All right. Config. Yeah. Exception. Yeah. When you need to handle errors, you need this. Error. Yeah. Okay. Page. Yeah. So here you can see page context and a page. Yeah. So we may like to compare the difference. What's the difference? Page context, implicit object, page difference, right? Here from the name, you can see the context. So the difference mainly related to that context. Yeah. Context. Like some buffer, storing some resource objects. Context. Something related to that part. Yeah. But when we learn more information, we can compare. Yeah. So right now, it is not a good time to do that comparison. Yeah. All right. But here, before we move to the next topic, here I want to mention in other places for this concept, implicit object concept, people use a different name. So here, let me tell you, people also call the same concept called implicit variables. Same implicit, okay? But they replace object by just the variables. Okay? Implicit variables. Yeah. So if you see this terminology, the same as that, that's implicit object kind of old name, this kind of new name. Okay? Recently, people call name like that. So it looks like we should use the new name. Yeah, but actually, I feel implicit object name better than implicit variable name. Because when you talk about variables, sometimes you may not assume object type variables. Although we know the variables could be objects, right? The variable could be objects. Yeah. But it is very general, right? Yeah. If you do not specify or if you do not call objects directly, so many people may not understand your variables means objects. Okay? So here the variable means objects, not non-object variables. We know there are many non-object variables, right? Yeah. So that kind of ambiguity so may not be good for understanding. Yeah. So that's why for better understanding, I like to choose the implicit object's name. Yeah. But just let you know, other people also use the implicit variable name. Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's the first topic. The second topic, declaration topic, JSP declarations topic. We haven't used this concept in our first JSP example. Yeah, because that's small example, we cannot cover many things. Yeah. Yeah. Here, we just get our first view of this concept. Later, we will have chance to see how to use this type of JSP elements. JSP declarations, from the name, you can see, so we want to declare something related to our Java code. Yeah, so that's the way we use JSP declarations. JSP declarations are for declaring members of the generated servlet class. Here, you know, this concept is important. Yeah. So that is the reason why we spend so much time in our first JSP class to understand the generated servlet class, right? Because a lot of concepts are related to this concept. Yeah. Here, JSP declarations, this concept related to the generated servlet class. Okay. All right. Declaring members of the, because there is such generated servlet class. So you need to do something for that class. Okay? Yeah. So in this declaration JSP element, so you can do something special for the generated servlet class. Okay? All right. Declare members, variables, and methods. Okay. Variables, methods, in, for the generated class. Okay. All right. How to do it? Here, the special symbol we use, exclamation sign. Okay. Other parts the same as other common we shared with other common JSP elements. This one tells the difference. Yeah. Exclamation sign. Yeah. All right. Then this property tells us they are added to the servlet class outside service method. Remember the service method. Class, service method, outside service method, some other things. So the declaration goes outside service method. Why it is important? Later, when we learn the scope concept, it is important. Because outside the service method, then you take the class scope. Okay? Class scope. Inside servlet method, you take the method scope. Okay, so you can see the understanding, the behaviors in these two scopes are different. Okay, so that's why we need to emphasize all these, the difference of these situations. Yeah. All right. At this point, we do not go too far, too early still. After we learn the scope concept, then we will discuss more on this issue. Yeah. Here, we cannot understand well at this point. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, class scope, the scope of the JSP servlet class. Yeah. Here we just know the name, right? We couldn't get deep understanding at this point, class scope. Yeah. But later, when we go deeper, yeah, we can understand better. Yeah. Define instance variables, methods, or classes. At the declaration part, you can define instance variables. Yeah. In Java, you know how to use instance variables, right? When you declare instance variables, all other Java methods can access these instance variables, right? Yeah. Yeah. So methods also, or classes, yeah, internal classes, inner classes, right? Inside one Java class, yeah, this generated servlet, inside one Java class, you can define several other inner classes if you want. Yeah, you can do that in JSP declarations. Okay, JSP declarations. Yeah. Usually we do not do that. Okay, most of the time, usually we do not do those things, but it has the capability. Yeah. In some very special situations, we may need to do those things. Yeah. All right. Declare static variables and static methods. Yeah. That's its capability. Yeah. Static, we know the concept, static variables and static methods, right? Shared by all instances of this class. One class, we know it can generate multiple instances, right? Yeah. But if you declare some static variables, static method, yes, yeah, let's look at static variables first. Static variables, then all the instances of this class share these static variables. Yeah. Regarding the static methods, then you can access static methods through class name, not through instance. You do not need to create instances. You just use the class name to access static methods. Okay, yeah. But here, basically, I just review old knowledge. These things, old knowledge. Yeah. But later, when we see some concrete examples, if we have chance to see these concepts, then I explain. Yeah. Here, we do not have the concrete examples. Yeah. So the explanation is a little abstract. Yeah. So we will leave when we see concrete examples. I try to review another time, but try to give you better connection to the original concepts. Yeah. All right. Code within a declaration is copied at translation time. Yeah. Copy at a translation time. Okay? So it tells you at what stage certain information is processed, in which way. Yeah. Here, we just need to know the code within declarations copy at the translation time. Okay. Later, it helps us to understand the different behaviors. All right, so let me stop here and then we finish the whole class.